We all think we know a lot about emotions, but you found out that there are a lot of myths out there when it comes to this field.
So there's this belief that we come into the world with a lizard brain for instincts like feeding and fighting, fleeing and mating. And then we also come with these innate circuits for emotions in a part of the brain which wraps around this lizard brain. And then the top of the brain that's really large and supposedly for rationality. And so none of that is true. The neuroscience evidence is pretty clear that our brain didn't evolve that way, it doesn't function that way. You don't have a lizard brain, and you certainly don't have innate or inborn emotion circuits.
How exactly would you define the term emotion?
Yeah. So scientists actually debate this. It's a people experience emotions, and no one disputes this, but nobody can agree on actually how to define an emotion. So what I would say is an emotion is no different than any other mental event you experience in your life. Your brain's main job is to control the systems of your body and to make sense of what is going on inside your body in relation to what's happening around you in the world. So the same racing heart can be a part of anger, it could be a part of sadness, it could be a part of happiness, it can be an indication that you had too much coffee to drink. It can mean that you're running up the stairs. There's no difference in the racing heart. The difference is in how the brain makes that heart racing meaningful in a psychological sense. Your brain has to make it meaningful as an emotion by knitting together the different signals from what's going on inside the body and outside in the world. And that's what an emotion is. That sounds really kind of general, and that's because it is. That also describes what a thought is, and it also describes what, a perception is. There isn't really any difference really in those experiences. To us, they feel very distinct, but the same parts of the brain are being used.
Are emotions different than feelings?
Some scientists define emotion as feelings, and some scientists don't. I would say that there are a set of feelings that are always with you all the time, whether you're emotional or not, because your brain's main job is to regulate the dozens and dozens of systems in your body. Right now, even as you and I are talking and our audience is listening, each of us, right, has a whole drama going on inside our own bodies that has to be coordinated. And your brain is doing that 24/7. And as that's happening, your body is sending information back to the brain about the state of your heart, the state of your lungs, the state of your immune system as simple feelings. Feeling pleasant, feeling unpleasant, feeling worked up, feeling calm. These are what a scientist like me would call affect, but we colloquially call it mood. That mood is with you every moment of your life. And those feelings can be part of an episode of emotion, but they can also exist on their own.
So, if we're not necessarily born with these pre-wired emotions, how do the emotions develop?
To me, this was one of the most startling and really cool discoveries. A baby's brain, like a newborn's brain, is not a miniature adult brain. It's a brain that is unfinished and it's waiting for wiring instructions from the surrounding world. For example, when a baby's born, a baby can't see. The visual system is not finished. And actually, the baby's brain wires itself literally to the distance between that baby's eyes in that baby's skull. The brain is receiving wiring instructions from the baby's own body, but it's also receiving wiring instructions from the world. And part of that world is other people who interact with that baby. And all of these things that the baby is exposed to actually wires its brain. And this is how information can transfer from one generation to the next without genes. It's called cultural inheritance. Of course, this is always happening throughout your whole life. It's called plasticity, but it's very, very potent in the first few years of life.
Well, I've heard you talk about being an architect of your own experience. Can you explain that phrase?
Right? So emotions don't happen to you. They're made by you. They're made by your brain. Nobody has as much control as they want to have. And there are differences in how much control people have just because of life circumstances, right? Some people have more choice than other people. But everybody has a little bit more control than they probably realize that they do. Your brain is automatically using past experiences to predict what's going to happen in the future, and then that becomes your present. You may not have control over what was originally wired into your brain, but you can cultivate new experiences for yourself now that can change the predictions that your brain will automatically make in the future. It's kind of like any kind of skill building. When you started to learn to drive, it took a lot of concentration, but then with practice, it became pretty automatic. You can train your brain to predict differently in the future. And that is a kind of control over your experience that maybe you didn't realize that you had. Sometimes we're responsible to change things, not because we're to blame for them, but because we're the only ones who really can. And that change is often harder than we want it to be, and it often takes longer than we want it to take, but it's possible.